Somewhere out there, hidden by mist, surrounded by legend, and blissfully unaware of your 5% damage buff, lies a land of ancient secrets and talking pandas. Welcome to Mists of Pandaria, the expansion that made everyone say, wait, is this real? And then quietly admitted, actually, this is kinda amazing. In this video, we're diving deep into the rich history and forgotten lore of Pandaria. From ancient empires and elemental horrors to beer brewing monks and war crimes. Looking at you, Garrosh, this is the full story behind one of WoW's most unexpected and beloved expansions. So grab your hat, your polearm, and a fresh mug of Storm Stout brew, and let's enter the mists. Long before the orcs poured through the dark portal, before the night elves accidentally summoned the Burning Legion again, the land that would become Pandaria was part of the single landmass of ancient Kalimdor. Then enter the Titan Forged. These were powerful beings shaped by the Titans to bring order to Azeroth. Among them were the Mogu, giant warriors carved from stone and forged from metal. The Mogu are a Titan-forged race manufactured by the Forge of Wills during the Ordering of Azeroth, what started as digging out waterways and rivers for their masters and fighting off the odd servant of the old gods or Mantid swarm, developed into the creation of a magical cradle of life in a hidden valley now known as the Vale of Eternal Blossoms. Later, they would be afflicted by a curse, used by the old gods, the curse of flesh, becoming mortal, eventually losing their way and valuing power and control above all else. Fierce ambition, cruelty, and the desire to enslave others took firm hold. But not everybody bowed to the Mogu. From rebellion and resistance came the rise of a new power, the Pandarans. Yeah, that's right, the beer-drinking, peace-preaching, kung fu fighting Pandaren were once slaves, who overthrew the Mogu in a revolution without using any weapons. Seriously, they won using hand-to-hand martial arts and probably some heavy-duty positive vibes. But even after the Mogu were cast down, the land was far from safe.
Storm the shore and paint this new continent red!
Have you ever got so mad that your negative energy spawns a physical manifestation of evil and starts attacking everyone around you?
What a rush!
In Pandaria, that happens daily. Enter the Shah, ancient malevolent spirits born from the last breath of the old god Yshaaj, when the Titans ripped Yshaaj out of Azeroth. Like they were yanking out a corrupted USB stick, it left behind a scar in the land, and its dying essence seeped deep into Pandaria. That essence became the Shah, twisted elemental forces that feed on negative emotions. Anger, that's Shah. Fear, that's Shah too. Doubt, of course, Shah, logging into LFR, probably Shah as well. The Pandaren learn to control their emotions, not just for inner peace, but for survival. Because if someone loses their temper, there's a pretty solid chance that a shadow demon will spawn and start chewing on the local village. The Shah aren't just a cool gameplay mechanic, they're a metaphor. They're a constant reminder that unresolved emotional baggage doesn't just hurt you, it terrorizes everyone around you as well. And in gameplay terms, they just made sure that you were never quite safe, even in paradise. Pandaria is bursting with unique cultures, factions, and intelligent races, each with their own history and role in the continent's story. Let's start with the stars of the show, the Pandaren, a peaceful, introspective bunch who value balance, tradition, and good food. Despite what the meme said in 2012, they are not a joke race. They are a deeply spiritual society shaped by years of surviving tyrannical threats and oppression. They live under the philosophy of the Four Celestials, powerful spirit guardians who represent courage, wisdom, strength, and hope, kind of like the Warcraft version of the Ninja Turtles, but celestial and terrifying. The Mogu, the original tyrants of Pandaria, who we've already discussed a little. Think if ancient stone warlords had access to bioengineering even after their empire fell. They kept trying to rise again. Because, as you know, evil doesn't go down without at least 3 phases and a cutscene. On the other side of the serpent's spine wall lived the Mantid, an insectoid race governed by a hive mind called Klaxi. Every 100 years, they swarm, not because they're evil, but because it's tradition. Yep, they are the terrifying bug neighbors who politely wait a century before knocking on your door with 10,000 razor claws waving at you. Next up is the Hozen and the Jinyu. The Hozen are hyperactive monkey people who think fart jokes are an art form, and they aligned with the Horde. On more than just fart jokes, I assume, and the Jinyu are wise, fish-like seers who listen to the rivers for guidance. They went with the Alliance. So yeah, factions kind of recruited their spirit animals. And lastly, the Yaungol, cousins of Taran, hardened by fire and war, they were driven south by the encroaching Mantid, forced to live harsh nomadic lives. These are definitely the "we fight because we must" type. When Deathwing shattered the world in Cataclysm, something ancient stirred. The mists that had hidden Pandaria for over 10,000 years vanished. Whether this was magical coincidence or a sign from the Celestials doesn't really matter. What matters is that both the Horde and the Alliance said, "Oh look, new land, let's colonize it." Within weeks, the ships had crashed into Pandaria's shores and brought war to the once isolated continent. For the Pandaren, it was like two drunk strangers barging into your home and then immediately begin rolling around fighting on your living room floor. And leading the charge on the Horde side was none other than Garrosh Hellscream, warchief, warrior, and poster child for anger issues. For Garrosh, Pandaria wasn't just a brand new land, it was a treasure trove of forgotten powers. He didn't care about balance or harmony, or the fact that messing with literally anything in Pandaria tends to go very badly. He wanted dominance. Meanwhile, the Alliance wasn't exactly innocent either. Desperate to stop Garrosh, they set up bases, recruited allies, and contributed plenty to the rising chaos. Even the Shadowpan elite couldn't keep a lid on it. And throughout all this turmoil, one thing grew stronger: the Shah. Pandaria's story isn't just about landscapes and faction, though. It's carried by a cast of characters that range from noble heroes to mustache-twirling villains, and sometimes both, depending on the patch. Long before the mists fell, Emperor Shaohao was told by the August Celestials that a great catastrophe was coming: the Sundering. His people were in danger and he needed to act. But here's the twist. Shaohao didn't try to fight the disaster directly. Instead, he went on a spiritual journey to purge himself of fear, of doubt, anger, and any other negative emotion, which in Pandaria can be a bit more complicated, given these emotions try and kill you. When he finally reached enlightenment, Shaohao used his newfound harmony to shroud Pandaria in mist, cutting it off from the rest of the world for 10,000 years. His sacrifice preserved the land, but it also meant that his people would have to face their own threats alone. You could think of him as Pandaria's version of Doctor Strange, but with more rice wine and less sarcasm.
Hi everyone, I hope you're enjoying this phone.
Enough! You have run rampant for far too long, Hellscream. But that stops now. Step aside, Pandaren. You confront a force beyond reckoning. Your father dabbled in powers beyond reckoning. Where is he now?
Now, if Pandaria had a main villain, it's Garrosh Hellscream. He arrived with the Horde, not to explore, but to conquer. From the moment he stepped foot on Pandaria, he was obsessed with its ancient powers, especially the Mogu's ability to shape flesh and the dark might of the Shah. Garrosh wasn't interested in Pandaria's wisdom or balance. He saw weapons, tools, and with each victory, he got bolder, crueler, and more unhinged. By the time we hit the later patches, Garrosh had claimed the Heart of Yshaaj. Yes, the actual beating heart of an old god, and he had plans to use it to reshape the Horde into his true vision of strength. Spoiler alert, it didn't end well for him.
You disappoint me, Garrosh.
Taran Zhu, the leader of the Shadowpan. Taran is the guy you call when things go really, really wrong. His job, protect Pandaria from the Shah, the Mogu, the Mantid, oh, and apparently now, us. Taran Zhu was deeply mistrustful of both the Horde and the Alliance. And honestly, that's fair enough. To him, we're all just giant Shah magnets with swords. But over time, he reluctantly worked with us, because stopping Garrosh's mess was more important than anybody's pride. He also had one of the most "I can't believe I have to deal with this" energy levels in all of Warcraft lore. Now, of course, no expansion is complete without at least one shadowy chessmaster. Enter Wrathion, the last pure black dragon born from an egg cleansed of corruption. In Pandaria, Wrathion played the role of helpful but suspicious quest giver, guiding us toward power while muttering about preparing for a coming war that only he seemed to know about. He helped us fight Garrosh, yes, but he also took the events of Pandaria to push his own mysterious agenda. It always kind of felt like a friend who was helping you move house, but then arranging the furniture to how they would want to have it. Next up, the inevitable conclusion. Garrosh's obsession with Pandaria's power culminated in his biggest mistake yet, using the Heart of Yshaaj to corrupt himself and weaponize the Shah's power.
I answer to no one!
This was the final straw for everyone, Horde and Alliance alike. The result, one of Warcraft's most iconic raids, the Siege of Orgrimmar. Both factions united, well, kind of, to take the fight to Garrosh in his own capital. The battle was brutal, but in the end, Garrosh was defeated rather than finishing him there and then. They decided to take him prisoner, setting the stage for warlords of Draenor.
We have all suffered from his atrocities. My people, more than any other. Let him stand trial in Pandaria.
Pandaria was like no other expansion in World of Warcraft. It didn't open with a cosmic apocalypse or a giant fiery dragon eating the sky. It began with a mystery, a hidden land, and a story about the battles we all face within ourselves. At first, many players joked about the Kung Fu Panda comparison, but as the months progressed, it started to become clear. Mists of Pandaria was one of the most thematically rich expansions Blizzard had ever made. It gave us lush zones, deep cultural lore, and a central conflict that wasn't about good versus evil. It was about pride, anger, and the consequences of war. It also gave us some of the most memorable characters in Warcraft history, from Emperor Shaohao's timeless sacrifice to Taran Zhu's unshakable discipline, Wrathion's sky manipulation, or Garrosh's tragic self-inflicted downfall. And beyond all of that, it left us with a lesson that even in a land of peace and harmony, darkness can still take root if we let our emotions get the better of us.
Many are the paths written on the scroll of life.